Tune in and take a seat now. Stories that make you say wow. Lessons learned and dreams we sow. Inspiration like the morning glow. Action sparked by a word so true. Transformation starts with what you do. Leaders speak and leaders guide, reshaping worlds from deep inside. Oh, TammyRenee, she's on the mic, sharing tales that'll change your life. Wave of change, leaders arise. Together we will touch the skies.
Come on into the Wave of Change, where I am interviewing leaders who help you take action, inspires your action, sharing stories, giving tips, and dropping those gems. Come make some waves with us. Like, share, comment, ask a question if you dare. If you are catching this replay, you know what to do. Hit hashtag replay. My name is TammyRenee, and I am here to help you make a change and take action in your life. Today, we are talking about the entrepreneur vision in your lifestyle. Drop some waves in the comments and let's welcome Dina-Marie Weineck, professional coach, creator of Wave of Your Founder, a movement defying traditional careers and expectations and build a location independent life and business on purpose. Hello, hello, hello. How are you?
I'm really good. I'm excited to be here.
Great. I'm excited for you to be here. I cannot wait to dive in to find out what location independence is. We're going to find that out. But before we do that, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about you?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm the creator of Way of the Founder. I'm a professional coach. However, the journey to get here was a very interesting one. I originally from Germany. I became an expat to Germany by moving to the US at age 19, and I spent years in the US, not just studying, but really working in the field of orchestra management. And as a professional fundraiser and as someone who was very interested in looking at how do these age-old, century-old orchestras imported from Europe remain and actually become relevant again to very diverse communities that orchestras are inside of. Because there's a lot of old, so oftentimes dead, white people who are running or who are carrying the vision, whose compositions are being played, and who are moving forward or not forward these orchestras. And I was like, well, okay, so the current business model seems to be working not. And how can I make a dent? How can I make a change? And I realized very quickly that while I had always been very impact and purpose driven, that was actually a part of my personality that wasn't able to shine and really come out and play inside my 9 to 5 working for a traditional orchestra. So with time, I just sort of put the word out and started talking about, my ideas for the great societal impact that orchestras, I thought, can have on their communities. And more musicians came out and started talking to me like, oh my gosh, Dina, I'm actually with you. This traditional orchestra field, the business model, it's not working for me. I don't feel seen. And most importantly, I don't feel as though playing the flute, playing the violin is going to help me make the impact I want to see on my community. Can you help me build a business? So I was like, yeah, sure. I have some time on my hands. I can help you build a business. I have a background in entrepreneurship and in business just from my degree. And so I started musicians helping build both nonprofits and for-profits. And with time, and I know we'll talk about this today, I realized that the career I was in wasn't going to get me to the life I wanted to live. So take those two things, right? The freelancing I was doing on the side and the realization that this path towards success I had been on wasn't going to get me to where I wanted to be, to how I wanted to feel, to how I wanted to live my life. The very long story short is I just quit. And I don't recommend this to my clients these days, but I was offered the like golden ticket. Oh, here is a visa extension. We'll pay for your immigration lawyer, and also here's a raise and here's a promotion, and we really want you in the orchestra. And I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna go ahead and quit and book a one-way ticket around the world, because that seems like the reasonable thing to do, you know?
Ah.
And that was 5 years ago. And actually just yesterday I got a notification from Facebook that yesterday, 5 years ago, I big time announced my new business to
Oh,
Facebook.
wow.
So, yes,
Congratulations.
thank you. So it's been a wild ride of 5 years. I initially started working after I trained to be a coach with musicians. That
Uh-huh.
was really my, because that was the niche, that was the field that I came from. And over time, what evolved out of my, like name branded business was Way of the Founder, this deep rooted desire to support other disillusioned professionals, not just in defying the traditional path through life, but really healing from societal and family conditioning, and then being able to build, what I call a location independent life and business through entrepreneurship, but really build a life of choice. Build a life that allows you to do and to seek and to create what you need financially, mentally, spiritually, emotionally, physically.
All around, every aspect of our being.
Exactly,
Well,
yes.
I find it very interesting. You were in the orchestra and you were doing those, and it seems like such a like job anyone would want to learn that skill and do that, and it's fun and stuff. But you knew, even though that was not your calling or your dream or how you wanted to live your life, you knew to take the steps to step away to create what you wanted. So, how did you know that? And how did you really know it wasn't just playing with your mind, but that is what you wanted?
It felt like survival for me.
Okay.
There was this trend last year, I think in December, on Instagram, where everybody said like, oh, they just asked me what I'm most afraid of, and I can't tell them that it's to step back into 9 to 5 and work for the man, so I just tell them it's snakes. That was me 5 years ago. I just really looked at, mostly I looked at my bosses, and I looked at their lifestyles. I looked at how healthy or not healthy they were. I looked at their conversations. I looked at their salary. And I was like, I,
Mhm.
I don't want any of that.
So
I
I
don't want any of that.
Yeah. So another approach into finding what you, if you're in the right spot, is to look around outside of you and see what is being created. Because obviously, if you're in that environment, that's what you're going to create.
Exactly. And there were two things, and I would say this to other people as well. When you're at this point where like, something is off,
Uh huh.
right? Like, just to be able to admit to yourself, to say, this career path that I've been on, that I've put money, blood, sweat, and tears into, ain't it. I don't feel the success. I may look, and people said this to me all the time, oh, you have the dream job and you're set up to
Yeah.
ascend through the ranks. But I was like, but it doesn't feel exciting.
Mm-hmm.
And I had the courage, and I really do think it's courage to say, I may look like a success, but I don't feel like one, and I want to feel
Yes.
successful. And feeling successful is really about, for me, it was about happiness. For me,
Mhm.
but it was about fulfillment. For me, it was about being able to say what I thought and not fear to get fired because of what I thought.
Right.
You know? And
Wow.
so the two things is, you really have to be willing to imagine the life that you want to live,
Mhm.
right? If it's not this, the path that you're on, right? I always say, in order to defy, you have to design.
Yeah.
You have to look at, okay, well, if there were no judgment, what's the life I would want to live? What would I go after? Who would I be? And then the other piece is inner work, right? Because
Mhm.
to be able to defy, right? Like in Way of the Founder, I say to defy and heal from. In order to defy what was, you really have to look at, well, what is it that got you here? And now we're
Mhm.
talking about conditioning. Now we're talking about societal conditioning and expectations. Now we're talking about the mother wound. Now we're talking about family trauma and generational patterns, right? And now the
Yeah.
conversation gets real deep. You
Yeah.
have to look at what it is that you're breaking away from. You have to look at where it is that you're going. And
Yeah.
that's no small feat.
Right. And that's being honest with yourself. Because, I'll tell you a little secret about where I was into a job or a career or following a passion that anybody would love to have. And I thought I wanted it too until I realized I didn't. And that was, I moved all the way to Costa Rica and I
Mhm.
lived there for 3 years and I opened up a retreat, but I did not feel that success, what you're talking about.
Yeah.
I was actually following someone else's dream. It
Mm.
was never my dream to begin with.
Mhm.
I did not plant the seed. Someone planted the seed in my head.
Yeah.
And it took me 3 years and I walked away.
Good
I,
for you.
I walked away
Yeah.
from it all. And so I love the fact that you were able to identify that and walk away from a cool career,
Right.
a cool career, and was able to step out on yourself. And it is so important for us to step back and look around and do that inner work. So after I left Costa Rica, that's when I did my inner work. And so then my next step was into what I wanted, not what someone
Yeah.
expected me.
Yeah. And I'm so glad you share that story and I want to hear more about it. And I think the story that you and I have,
Hmm.
millions of people out there have or want to have a similar story, but they feel alone. Because all that we
Hmm.
hear inside our own echo chamber that we have out of autopilot been putting ourselves inside of, we look around, we're like, yeah, but everybody is hustling to get the next promotion. Everybody is hustling to, in my case, get the next donor on board, right? And I
Right,
always was like, well, what's the purpose?
right,
So why are we doing this? I don't understand why we're doing this because I don't see any impact being made.
right.
Right? And I love that we have this conversation of, yeah, you were following someone else's dream and at one point you woke up and you had the courage and you had the privilege to be able to step away from that and
Yeah.
to reassess. And sometimes that's just what we have to do. We have to do a little bit of nothing to figure
Yes.
out what everything else is that we want to be doing.
Yeah. And then you said a little bit of nothing. I think when I stepped away, I was so confused that I think I shut down for no, maybe 5 years. 5 years. I didn't do anything because I was like so lost at that point because I did not know myself. So gosh, this is amazing, and it's hard to believe that so many people are stuck in that meeting societals and not doing what feels good. And they don't even know what feels good because they
Yeah.
haven't experienced it yet.
I in the past few years I've come to a really sad realization, and that is that in most countries, I'm gonna be generous and just say people. People don't want us to live a self-fulfilled life.
Right,
People don't want us to wake up from what some call the matrix,
right.
right? Because this is how society works, and this is how certain, again, being generous people stay in power and
Mhm,
others are being kept away from power. And,
mhm,
I work with a lot of location independent or aspiring to be location independent entrepreneurs. This is transplants, this is digital nomads, this is expats, this is people who want to live a life that, maybe in the US it's bi-coastal, internationally, maybe it's, I want to have my she shed in London, but I want to have my actual house down in Portugal, right? How do I make that happen? And I always say, great, let's build you a life that allows you to travel. But if
Yes.
traveling was a given, like if everybody in the world could just travel and that was just the way we lived life, why would
Mhm,
you want to build a business now? Because now
mhm.
we're talking about impact. Now we're talking about what is the good that you want to see happen in the world as a result of you saying yes to entrepreneurship.
Yes.
And for me, a huge part why I broke away from 9 to 5 is so that I can live the life I want to live.
Mm-hmm.
But now I live the life I want to live. And now what's driving me is not to live more of that life. Now what's driving me is, how can I vote with my money? Right
Mm.
now what's driving me is, what are the conversations I want to be having at conferences, inside my spaces, inside my communities, public and private, in order to put a dent into what life is like right now, in order to really have a conversation about how can we create more equity, how can we create more opportunity, how can we move away from them versus us and back into society, or towards a society, because I don't know that a society has ever been where we can actually come from a place of compassion and love. And I truly
Mm-hmm.
believe that purposeful entrepreneurship
Yes.
built in a way that allows you as the individual to thrive will move this global society, that the species out into a place of just more love and more compassion, and less of what it is right now, because it's getting worse and worse, and we can't be looking away. We can't look to travel, we can't look to entrepreneurship or expatriatism as a way to escape. We have to look at it as an opportunity to really dive in.
I love the way you put that, because I would say probably at the beginning of this year, end of last year, I was like, I'm out. I'm leaving. This ain't my problem. I'm out. I'm not doing it. But the way that you put it is looking at it as an opportunity on how I can help. Not that I have to fight the fight for who I think I don't want to fight the fight for, but in a way to actually bring that awareness and bring that compassion, because I was actually really ready to just give up. I was tired,
Yeah.
you
and
know?
and and I get that. I've been saying, if I still lived in the United States right now, I would be packing my bags.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's okay to really look at both things, right? The way in which the new administration came into power, and we really have to say came into power at this point,
Mm-hmm.
they meant to overwhelm us. They meant to overwhelm the courts. They meant to overwhelm social justice organizations. They meant to overwhelm our own mental capacity, right? And
Mm-hmm.
we really have to look at, like, first things first is, are you safe? And if you're not safe, then, and if you have the privilege to be able to do that, yeah, sure, leave the country.
Right.
But take your ability to vote with you. Take your ability to speak up with you. Take your
Mm-hmm.
ability to lead the conversation with you, and don't allow yourself to be overwhelmed. Feel your feelings, but then go straight back to, okay, great, how can I be part of the change? How
Mm-hmm.
can I contribute to the change and not just run away from the problem?
Because I don't know why this came to my head, but for every one of us that have been through this thing, there's 100 more people that need the help to go through it.
Yes,
And we are the ones who have actually experienced it, fortunately, at a good time. Right now, it's a harder time. So having that person who have actually experienced it, who have actually done it, took years to do it, we can now help other people to get there faster.
yes, yes.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So I noticed you said in the comments, I mean, while we were talking, you said location. What do you mean by location living, or what does that mean?
Yeah, absolutely. So location independence is the term I use in place of digital nomad, and it's the term that I use to convey a sense of freedom of choice. So I'm a digital nomad right now. I have no permanent address. A lot of my belongings are in some boxes scattered throughout my mom's house back in Germany. And I travel. I bounce from place to place. I bounce from country to country, continent to continent, and I love that life. My house is literally inside my suitcase right now.
Uh-huh.
However, at some point, and right now I'm semi-settled. I've been living in Vietnam for about 7 months at this point. I have really no
Oh,
plans of leaving
wow.
too soon, because there was a bit of travel fatigue happening as well after years of doing this lifestyle. Location independence for me really conveys that your you're giving yourself permission to build a life through entrepreneurship that provides you with freedom of choice, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think that in today's world, we have this opportunity to not have to choose just one place,
Mm-hmm.
right? We have the privilege, well, sadly, not all of us, right? But typically those who have the capacity to be able to listen to a podcast and take action on it can create or have the privilege to travel and to create a life, to create the circumstances that allow them to even move to a different country if they wanted to.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And I think having that freedom of choice to go where your heart takes you, to go where your needs, again, your physical needs, your needs of safety, your emotional and spiritual needs take you, I think that's
Mm-hmm.
phenomenal. And to not have money, which really is what it comes down to, right? Not to have your job or your business get in the way of just picking up and going someplace else
Mm-hmm.
is it's such a cool thing.
Yeah.
Right? It
Yes.
sort of brings us back to our vagabond roots, right?
Yes.
It brings us back to, okay, well, let's explore, right?
Uh-huh.
And the biggest thing that I found, or the two big things that keep us from doing that, are a job that keeps you in the city and money. So
Yep.
with business, with entrepreneurship, if we structure it right,
Mm-hmm.
we can actually create the income streams and create the job, in quotation marks, right? The business ownership that allows you to follow through with having that freedom of choice and actually traveling or
Mm-hmm.
moving.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I always say not every online business is built to be location independent. Every online business has the potential
Uh-huh.
to help you build a location independent lifestyle. But I've seen that, those who sort of take whatever trauma and whatever patterns were playing out back in the 9 to 5 into their business end up with a business that is very much dependent on them being inside the business.
Uh-huh.
Right. And this plays out in structures, this plays out in the offers that you do and do not have. And this also plays out in automation and allowing yourself to work smarter, not harder, and to let certain automations take care of nurturing, onboarding, and selling to your clients so that you can both still serve while not being plugged into the business and also sell while not being plugged into the business. And to be quite clear, I'm not talking about creating 100% passive income. If you're still listening, then you're definitely into business to, again, see some change happen, again, to make an impact across your community. So you don't want to create 100% passive income, right?
Right.
But you want to create income in a way that doesn't have you tethered to the desk. You
Mm-hmm.
want to create income in a way so that you can retain your ability to choose and to pick up and leave and to continuously create an ever-evolving life that suits you.
Right. And I don't think we ever do really retire. And so if as an entrepreneur, if your business is set up where you're not working so hard, you can continue to put in a few hours to serve for this or that or this, or even in your travels, do community service if it's that you don't need no money. But, if you are still seeking that money and your passive income is not, because we are entrepreneurs, we don't have an expiration date.
Right.
Mm-hmm. I love that. Oh my God. I got so many ideas going in my head.
Good.
I have so many ideas going in my head. So when someone wants to take this step, what are some of the things that you make sure that they're ready for before saying, oh, I want to go be a digital nomad, or I want, what did you call it?
Location independent?
Location independent. I want to go do that. Now, everybody's not for that, right? Some people got to stay local. So what is some of the things that you make sure in their mindset that they're ready for this?
Love it. Love it. I really appreciate that you sort of anchor this question into the mindset, because that's really where it starts, right? I can give you strategy and I can give you offers to create, but it really starts with who are you at your core, and who are you allowing yourself to be at your core?
Mm-hmm.
So, mindset, I mean, at the end of the day, when I work with my clients privately and inside my masterminds, once the strategy is done and set, the remaining 90 minutes of the session typically have to do with mindset, right? Because now you know the strategy. Now the question becomes, why don't you implement it?
Mm-hmm.
And that goes back to your core identity, right? So we really have to look at that first. And there are a few mindset shifts that, as samples, I'm just going to offer up as I see them, happening all the time. One is this is all I can do, right? People who are stuck in a 9 to 5 or have come to realize that they feel a little stuck in their current job. Typically there is a belief or a limiting belief happening of, well, this job is all I can do. This is what I was trained to do. This is what I went to college for. I've been doing this my whole life. I can't do anything else. Therefore, I can't become an entrepreneur. And I think that's a huge fallacy. I think especially in today's world, there's so many skills that are transferable. Mm-hmm. And you don't have to have a Facebook level business idea to go into business for yourself.
Right.
What you do need to have is the willingness to shift that belief from, oh, this is all I can do, towards, okay, well, what if my business idea was as close as looking at what I love doing and what comes naturally to me? Mm-hmm. Typically, once you put these two things together and then really look at, okay, so what's the change you want to see in your community? Boom, you have a purpose statement, you have a mission statement, and now you can build a business around that. Yeah. Right. So that's the first mindset shift I would offer. The other one is, once then. Once my mortgage, once then mortgage is paid off, I'll do that. Okay. Once my kids are out of college, I'll do that. Once I've saved $100,000, I'll do that. Once then. Now, sometimes that's good. Right. Mm-hmm. Sometimes we can say, okay, well, this needs to happen before I can quit my job. But already there, you see the shift, right? Uh-huh. I always say, one day is not a date that you can put on the calendar. Mm-hmm. Right? So shift it, make it concrete. Yes. Right? Once then, now you're just letting outside circumstances dictate your life. Yeah. Take back that control and look at, okay, what do you have to figure out now so that 6 months from now you can do X, Y, and Z? And finally, there's so many mindset shifts, but this is one that I see being the reason why a lot of new entrepreneurs fail. Employees typically go to work to get it perfect and to get validated from their boss. Entrepreneurs cannot do that. Mm-mm. Entrepreneurs have to go to work to grow and to progress. Mm-hmm. And that typically means that good enough is perfect. Right. Right? That means it's okay to get it wrong. Get to failure fast. I don't know who said this. I didn't say it, but I heard it and I was like, oh my gosh, yes. So I'll pass it on. Quote anonymous. Yes. Get to failure fast. Uh-huh. Don't strive for perfection. Get to failure fast. Let it be imperfect. Let the system be imperfect. Just get to revenue. You need to make money quick, and that means you need to get to failure fast. And that's a huge mindset shift. If you can accomplish that, you're pretty well set up for growth and for success. Wow. It was something you said about what was the first tip you gave? Okay. We're not going to go back. This is all I can do. Yeah. The sense that your professional background is all you got. Oh yeah. That's such a strong rejection, because this is all I can do. And that kind of limits us a lot. We're not getting outside of that box. We're not trying anything. And I don't know who told us that, but a lot of people believe it. And then the failure part, I really liked what you said, because when I first started this journey, I was scared of reading. I was scared of writing. I was scared to talk because I didn't feel like I pronounced my words right. So as I began this journey, I wrote my first book.
which I never read books because I was scared that I didn't know how to read. I have one of those mindsets. I can't do it, you know. But when I realized it was okay, when I did post things and there was mistakes on them, I did not take them down. Actually, sometimes I would go in the comments and make that exact point of what you just said. It's okay to fail. It's
Yes.
okay to not be perfectionists.
Yeah.
Because the more we do it, the more it will become second nature.
Yes.
But you have to go through the process of failing and knowing what failure looks like for you so that you can move to the next level.
Yeah. If you keep on failing, you will succeed. But if you never try, there's a guarantee that you won't succeed. You know, once in a while I get someone ask me, and it happens less and less because I'm more and more established in my brand and my messaging. But once in a while I get a message, "Oh, can you guarantee results?" And like, hey, that's illegal. Like, that's literally against the law in most countries to do.
Oh wow, I didn't know that.
And second of all, no. Because I you can, what's the saying? You can lead a cow or a horse to water, but you can't make it drink.
Right.
It's that, like, I can't do the work for you. I cannot fail for you. I can help you figure out what to do. I can help you do the deep work, but if you reject the deep work, I can't help you heal. If you don't follow through on the strategy that we discussed, then I can't help you fail, and therefore I can't help you make money and get clients. So no, there's absolutely no guarantee. However, the clients that do put in the work, the clients that do understand that getting to a freedom-based life means pouring sweat, tears, and blood into your business up front, they have results.
I mean, I'm not, but people are pouring it into the jobs.
Exactly.
The other people who have it, because you did say, and that's what you said, people go to work looking for validation and approval and shined on, whatever. They look for that validation. So we're working hard for somebody else, not making probably 1/4 of what you could be making by putting that hard work into yourself and growing this business that fits the lifestyle that you want.
Yeah, absolutely. There's a bit of a people pleaser epidemic going on around the world, and definitely in the workforce, right? Where we look outside ourselves for validation, for love, and for success, right? Hopefully this person out there will give me a promotion, will give me a raise. Hopefully my mom will love me once I get this job, once I graduate, right? And we pour so much into, well, hopefully I'll be loved so that I can feel safe. That's really at the core. Like, that's the question we all ask. And that's the question for which we all do and act. Am I loved? And am I lovable? Right?
Yeah.
And for me, entrepreneurship is really, it's like 20% strategy. And don't get me wrong, that's a really important 20% strategy, because I have worked with business coaches who were like 99% mindset. And then I was like, well, where's the fucking strategy? But the other 80% is a return to yourself. It's a return to, yes, I am made of love, therefore I am lovable. I am made by love, and therefore I am loved. And if you are willing to do that work, now getting clients is easy because you're no longer afraid of rejection.
Right.
Now putting out your really opinionated messaging, which you have to in order to let people know who you are and why you do what you do, is no longer scary because you're no longer afraid of the trolls who try and put you down on the internet.
Wow. You see what it says on the screen? Hear it, see it, feel it, and be it.
I love that. I saw that. It's like, yes. Yes. You know what I call that? Because I work with so many travelers. And sometimes people start to travel to sort of escape their life. So I call this the hear it, see it, feel it, be it. I call that the inner journey.
Okay.
You have to go on an inner journey in order to really enjoy the outer journey.
Yes, yes. And that little bird on there, that's wave philosophy, and it's all about the inner journey.
What else would it be about?
So we seeing each other eye to eye here.
We do.
Yes. Okay. So, what else advice would you give an entrepreneur, someone who is ready to make that move and ready to move from corporate and start creating a location lifestyle business?
Yeah. So I'm gonna frame this as get to the money fast.
Get to, I like it. I like it, and I like it.
Right. So what I mean by that is there are two things that I see really new or wannabe entrepreneurs do. One is to sort of get caught up in that I don't have time, like I work really long hours, and by the end of the day, I come home and I don't have the energy to. I'm sorry to say this, but you're going to have to gather up the energy and just do it. Right? You want to get a plane off the ground, it takes 40% of the fuel put into that plane's tank just to get off the ground.
Mm.
That's the mindset you have to be in. Just freaking do it. Right? So go into overdrive. Let it be okay to go into overdrive for a while. Put clear time frames around that, right? For the next 6 months, I'm going to be working weekends. I'm going to be saying no to social gatherings, right? Don't do it for the rest of your life. That is unhealthy. But let it be okay to do that for a while so that you can get that plane off the ground. And the second thing is start with a purpose statement. And here I see a lot of people go into, I'm going to watch all of these webinars. I'm going to figure out how to do these automations and build these funnels and have this freebie and build my email list and start my podcast and
on and on and on and on.
Really good things to do, but there's a time and a place to do these things. And the first 6 months of your business is likely not it.
Right.
So instead, I want to encourage listeners to really anchor in on a purpose statement. And officially that's known as a mission statement, right? Every business has a mission statement. I call it a purpose statement because you have to make sure that you're in the business. Right? I'm going to say this again. If you're still listening, then you don't feel fulfilled in your career. So in looking to build your business, we have to make sure that you're in the business. And your purpose statement is real easy, actually. It's what you do, who you do it for, and to what impact do you do it.
Right? Would that be the same thing as what some people call your niche or something like that?
I think you can niche down later.
Okay.
Right? Okay. I think in the beginning you really.
So this wouldn't be your niche. This is really a general purpose statement.
So it's a general purpose statement that will allow you to sort of look back to that statement as though it's a North Star. Right? I want you to create a purpose statement so that you can answer the question of, will I follow this opportunity? Will I follow this strategy? Will I say yes to this engagement or not, based on whether or not it fits inside your business purpose?
Okay.
Yeah.
Yep. I got it.
Yeah.
So
and with that, go ahead.
So what I have people create is their success statement. So it sounds like it's the same thing. That's not your niche or anything, but it's your guide.
Yeah. And about the niche, I do think we all have to niche down.
Oh, that was
I think it's very
that was a hard lesson.
Yeah, same here.
It was hard.
But let me tell you, it gets so much easier once you take that on. However, at the beginning ain't it. Same with the email list and the funnel and the podcast. At the beginning, it's just not the time and place to do that because you have to experience and learn a little bit. Right? So once you have your purpose statement, believe it or not, you can actually create your first offer. And while I will die on the hill of one-on-one coaching or staying with one-on-one services, A, it doesn't make for a location independent business, and B, it's like a wildly inaccessible business. So if you want to have any kind of impact, then please don't stay with a one-on-one offer that does not make for opportunity, accessibility, or equity. But that, I think, goes beyond the scope of this conversation. But to begin with, one offer. And I would argue absolutely a one-on-one offer that you price in a way that gets you to your goals and that you can fill up with people so that you're at about 50% capacity of the time that you put towards your business. And this has two purposes. One, well, three really. You get to the money fast, right? And you need money to reinvest into the business to grow it.
Right.
And now with 50% left in the business, you're making money on the one hand. You now have both time and money to now scale the conversation, scale your offers, and with that really expand your business into one that you can run sustainably in the long run. But you need to have that experience first from working with clients, figuring out what you do and don't like. You need to have that experience of working with clients first to figure out what is your client journey, so that then it just makes sense to you to create X, Y, and Z offer, and you're not just shooting into the dark.
Right.
Right. So essentially, you're getting yourself paid for doing market research with some really amazing clients.
Right.
And now people are going to be like, okay, Dina, well, that's great. How do I get a client?
Especially if we're like living in no man's land, you know?
Yeah. So whether it's no man's land or not, you know your first 5 clients. That's it. You already know, you've already talked to, you've already come to know, like, and trust, and be known, liked, and trusted by 5 people that will pay you. So that's why I'm like, in the beginning, don't bother with social media. The first 3 months, activate your network. Go to gatherings, go to conferences, go and have coffee with the people that you know. Do not be afraid of rejection. Put the boots on the ground and talk to everybody and their mother, everybody that you know about this thing that you do and how you help people.
Oh, I love how you just like, let's get it done. Let's get it done.
Yeah, you have to. And this goes back to like no perfectionism. You don't need a fancy website. You literally don't need a website to get your first 5 clients. You literally don't.
I used to like die inside when I seen like new entrepreneurs, especially the young ones. Well, we got business cards and we got website, we got all this stuff, but you ain't got no product, you ain't got no clients, and you're spending money. I mean, I've been there too, but you know, I didn't have those basic things, but I did have some other things. But it just cracks me. It doesn't crack me up. It makes me feel sad, because they don't know the value of creating that purpose statement or that success statement. You know, that's a hard thing to go through, though. I ain't even gonna lie.
Yeah, and you know, let me acknowledge these 3 things that I'm suggesting: purpose statement, your first offer, and then activating your existing network. They're simpler than doing all of the other things, but they're not easier. In fact, they're a lot more challenging.
You nailed it. It's so simple, but it's so challenging. You nailed that on the nose. You really
have to be you in order for these steps. I mean, in order for any business to work, you have to really show up as yourself. And by creating a website and a funnel and this, that, and the other, you get to just plug into someone else's, you know, 3-step framework and not be you and not have to ask yourself the deep questions. But that's not going to get you anywhere.
Right. Right. You'll be back at your 9 to 5 because you can't make it.
Except now you don't have a paycheck.
Right. Oh my gosh. Yes. I love it. I love the way your mind works. I love your energy. And I love how you are very actionable. We're going to use those words. You're like getting those actions done. Let's take action. Because I can go back to where, you know, when you know the saying when they say build it and they will come. Well, as an entrepreneur, I know that's a lie. They told us a lie.
Yes. You have to build your vision. And that's something you have to cling on to, but you can't build in silence and hope for them to come because nobody knows what you're doing.
You got to actually take that action. And that's what I corrected this podcast for. I wanted to bring people on that will help people take action, because that is the number one thing stopping people, because we live in this fantasy world like, oh, I want to write a book. So you write some things on your phone or your computer, or you might not even get that far, but you're lucky if you even get that far. But if you never take that book and get it formatted, get it published, you've never wrote a book.
Exactly. You wrote a journal.
Right. And go back and read that journal and see if there's any lessons in it, right?
Right.
Oh my God, I love it. So tell me about your business a little bit, the way of the founder. Is that all about the living? Tell us a little bit more about that. What do you do in that, or how do you, whatever, in that part of your business? I want to know about that part of it.
Absolutely. I mean, literally everything we just talked about is what Way of the Founder is.
Okay.
Way of the Founder helps disillusioned professionals heal from and defy traditional paths through life. And build. I got a little distracted. You went black there for a second.
You. I saw it on my end too. I was like, wait a minute, what happened? But where are you? Just kept looking.
So anyway, yeah, Way of the Founder is really the place to come to defy the old and to design a life that allows you to be location independent and to have freedom of choice for your lifestyle via entrepreneurship. And really focus on these big three things: the inner exploration and journey, getting to know yourself, leadership into the world, and then the journey far, right? Where are you going? What's the life that you want to build? And let's really design it so that it fits you and not just plug into someone else's strategy or lifestyle design that, again, doesn't suit you quite so well. And I work with established business owners who are like, well, this ain't it. I still feel chained to my desk. Help me untether myself. Help me unchain myself so I can have more freedom through this entrepreneurship. And I work with people who are ready to get out, who are ready to take the leap into freedom.
I love it. I'm ready to take the leap into freedom. Am I ready, Frank?
Oh, wait a minute.
I'm already free, so I'm ready to take my freedom somewhere else. Let's put it that way.
Right. And it is an ever-evolving concept, right? It really is. And we have to continuously look at it and be willing to shift and recreate and redesign in order to really have our own needs met.
And I would like to add to that is, when we go on this entrepreneur journey, we may have one vision at the beginning, but the more and more you get into it and the more and more you experience and learn, that vision gets bigger than you can even imagine.
Yes. I love that you added that.
Yes. So keep going, everybody. If you are trying to travel, how do you pronounce that? Landed. How do you pronounce it? The program you have.
My business? Way of the Founder?
No, it's the certain word that you use.
The location independence?
Yes. And if you're ready to be location independence and live on purpose, tell everyone how to find you and what offer you have.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for this conversation. I really enjoyed it. And I hope that people gained a lot of action steps from it. I am Way of the Founder on Instagram, Threads, all of the social media places, including YouTube. And if you're ready to take the leap, I do have a masterclass for you called The Freedom Leap. It's at wayofthefounder.com/leap. And that would be the best place for you to really plug into and figure out what are the first steps I have to take, and then where do I go from there. And that is for you if you're, again, ready to take action and you're done thinking about it. You're ready to now launch into how do I make this happen? And the Freedom Leap Masterclass will help you figure out the how and then go and do it.
Yes. All right. You heard her. Freedom of Leap Masterclass. So if you are ready, make sure you are ready, because when you get in her masterclass, sounds like she's going to help you make sure you take that action.
You're going to make sure happen, yes.
Yes. I want to thank everyone for joining us today. Make sure you drop your comments. Go check out her website. Check her out on social media. There was a great amount of tips in here. So if you need to, go back and watch the replay. There was such good information that you gave us today, and I want to thank you so much.
It's my pleasure, and thank you.
Thank you.
Action sparked by a word so true. Transformation starts with what you do.